Hello and welcome to today's video. Been a little while, but wanted to stop in and make a little video, put it on the Thriller to Killer channel. I've been working my butt off on 2 novels I'm getting ready to publish, and they're both going to be published before the end of the next month, before year's end of 2025. The first novel, which will be the first one I've ever published. I've published several books, including my first book on trucking. This was written way back in 2010. Other books on trucking and business and real estate and other things, but this will be the first fiction book. I have published some short stories and things of that nature recently, but the very first fiction novel that I will ever publish will be called The Janus Protocol Escaping Earth. The second one will be The Chesapeake Bay Killer. And the Janus Protocol book is of course, I'm biased. I mean, I wrote it, but I find it extremely interesting, at least to me. And that is, you have a billionaire, multi-business owner, entrepreneur, who has convinced all the world's leaders to pony up money to build a 4 million person strong colony on Mars. And this is near our time, but a few years into the future. And most societies are struggling with societal problems that we all have now, but compounded a lot more. Resource problems, just all sorts of issues and problems. So the world's somewhat coming apart at the seams, and the governments are, as always, and as in reality, looking forward to being able to exploit minerals and money and profit, and also have their flag planted on the Mars colony. But they don't realize it yet, but the main protagonist, the main character, Dylan James, that's not what his actual plan is. His plan is not to take 4 million people, but to take 12 million. Some of them volunteers, knowing what they're getting into. Many of them not volunteers. They're have been volunteered by him and his people, and they are being transported not just to Mars. They are indeed going to colonize Mars, but they're going to a planet called Polaris, which is an Earth-like planet that is a little bit bigger and is pristine and is unknown to Earth. And then once he's off the planet, he has 3 huge starships that are going to be left behind to blockade Earth, so that nobody else is allowed to leave the surface in an attempt to follow or interfere or otherwise meddle with what he is in the process of doing, which is establishing a new world's order. And ultimately, it won't be just Polaris and just Mars. It will be to spread out and colonize other planets as well. So the book and the novel is intended to be a series. This is the first book in the series. The Chesapeake Bay Killer is also intended to be the first in a series. I'll tell you a little bit about that one in a minute. But it is, at least to me, it's interesting. Now, whether anybody else finds it interesting or not, I don't know. Again, this is something that's brand new to me. I've never published a novel before. I've written a few, believe it or not, full novels over the years, just for fun and just to almost kind of therapeutic, that I didn't really have any intention of publishing. Several of them I have lost, believe it or not. Hard drives died on computers, and notebooks have been packed away and lost, so I couldn't even tell you where they're at. Some of them I still have, some I don't. But this will be the first 2 fictional works that I ever actually complete and publish. And hopefully the Janus Protocol Escaping Earth goes well, does all right in sales. And I will begin working on the next book in the series. I think it's probably going to be 12 books in the series. I'm going to write them whether anybody buys them or not. I mean, I believe the old adage that writers write. And it's the story's there, and it's got to come out, and I'm going to tell it. So hopefully people will like it and buy it. That will be wonderful. But regardless, the books will be written. So the first one will be out before the end of next month. It is not quite finished, but it is quite a few pages done. It is probably about 300 or so pages out of around 500, or a little over 500 that I intend for it to be. So I still got a lot of work to do and some editing, but it will be finished one way or the other by midnight on the last New Year's Eve of this year. The second book, which will also be published at the same time, is called The Chesapeake Bay Killer. It is about a former Navy SEAL who leaves active duty military service and becomes a law enforcement officer, a cop, and then he becomes a detective, and he helps bring down a very bad drug ring and a drug kingpin. The problem is the drug kingpin's got his hooks into all the judges and cops and lawyers and prosecutors and all kinds of people. So he is not successfully convicted and is let out. And in retribution, he attacks and does some very bad things to the main character's wife and subsequently kills her. And so the primary character goes and arrests the guy, has the proof and everything of that, thinks that's going to be the end of it, still believes in the system and is trying to let things play out the way they're supposed to. And once again, this guy owns the judges, owns the district attorney, owns lots of cops and so forth is on his payroll, and he walks. He gets out and gets away. And that is the final snapping point for the main character. He realized that he's living in a unjust world, in a system that is not fair, and it does not work the way it's supposed to. And he reverts back to some of his earlier days and earlier ways in his military training. And prior to that, he was basically a juvenile delinquent and problem child before he went into the military. And the Navy and the SEALs started him down a path of kind of redeeming himself in life. And then when he met his wife, Sarah, she was his stable force or stabilizing force, and taught him other ways of life, and basically kept him calm to an extent. And in large part the reason why he chose law enforcement, and he tried to make a positive difference in a lot of people's lives. And then once she has taken from him and she's been brutally tortured and killed, and the things that took place, then he is there's nothing else restraining him anymore, and he's going to let up a lifetime of pent-up rage, and he's going to unleash that first on the drug kingpin, who was going to suffer a fate 10 times worse than what he did to Sarah, and then the judge that let him off, and then the prosecutor, and then the crooked cops. And then the story progresses from there. So it's kind of like, it sort of makes, in some respects, Rambo look like kindergarten. So if you don't like violence, you're not going to like that one. But if you're into action, adventure, and that kind of thing, that would be just a book for you. That one, again, is intended to be the first book of a series, and I will write them, again, regardless of whether nobody reads them, one person reads them, or 1 million people read them. I don't know, I have no idea, no way of telling, but that's what I'm working on. I still want to get this channel up, telling all kinds of stories, and where this channel is different, it's been in the back of my mind for a long time. And the idea is not just true crime, certainly to cover true crime and to cover old cases, current cases, new cases as they occur, but also cover other things that are not necessarily crimes. Like there was a lady that decided to go hiking up into the presidential mountains right before a storm. Her story, she went out and she was in tip-top physical condition, triathlete. fit beyond belief, had all the proper gear and training and information, and yet managed to get herself in a whole world of trouble, and it didn't end well for her. So to cover that type thing, to cover other stories, and to kind of mix it up and play with it a little bit, and to cover some things and say, all right, I'm going to tell you a story, and then you get to decide. In some cases, I may leave out the names of who's involved in it. And I'll tell you a story. And then what I want you to do is tell me and tell the other subscribers and viewers whether it's real or whether it's another work of fiction that I have made up, or fiction that I have told you a story that somebody else created. And if it is something that is real or that is otherwise known, see if you can identify who it is intended to be. Or if it's something that I made up and wrote, see if you can determine whether what I've told you was a true story or a fictional story. So just to have a little bit of fun, and to my knowledge, there's no other channel that I am aware of that does that or has ever done that I am aware of. I'm not saying I'm not, I just haven't seen anybody doing that. So if anybody starts doing it before I start actually doing it, this is recorded here that was my idea anyway. So, or at least as far as I know, like I said, I don't know of anybody that's ever done anything like that. But that's the plan. That's what we're going to do with this channel. I am going to start putting videos up here on a regular basis. I'm not going to say daily. I have got a crap ton of things that I work on and do, from writing books to writing training manuals to I'm still working at a job. I run a training program with multiple other instructors and sites and stuff. I teach courses in real life. And that eats up an enormous amount of my time. And when I'm not doing that, I'm working on building courses and building products that I can sell. And my primary business is publications and training, as far as I'm concerned. I work a job in training, and my own business is publications and training. And even though I have other aspirations and things I want to do, the primary thing in everything that I do is going to come back to publications and training. That is my main thing in life that I enjoy the most. So internally, externally, any other way as well. So if you have stumbled across this and have listened to my long-winded rambling, I also have started a community on the Skool platform, Skool. Eventually I'll start putting some links in the description of the videos, but you're certainly welcome, and I'd love to have you there. If you come to the Skool platform and search under L.D.Sewell Training, it should pull up our community. So that's L.D.Sewell Training on the Skool platform. Now, I will tell you, that's not about, crime and fictional stories primarily, even though we do cover, and I do have a section in there on writing fiction and that kind of stuff. As I'm learning, I'm just sharing what I'm doing, and I'm also putting copies of my books in progress, my stories in progress, and different things in there as I do it. But the primary purpose of the community is to help people build better lives. It is training in business, entrepreneurship, financial management, problem solving, leadership, risk management, all of those type things. That's primarily what it's about. And then there is sections in there that will cover, that will have access to my fictional stories and different things as I write them and as I do them, and kind of a behind the scenes thing for anybody that's interested in discussing and kicking ideas out and that kind of stuff, and maybe in some respect helping me write some of this stuff. But the main purpose of the community is entrepreneurship and business. And my personal background is trucking and real estate and small business entrepreneurship. So that's what I heavily focus on. We have community members who have other areas of expertise, and they will be talking about and creating some courses in there on their areas of expertise. And if you want to go and get help directly from them, not only do we allow that, we encourage it. So, for example, one of our members' name is Des, and Des is a authority and an expert on YouTube. I know enough about YouTube to be dangerous. Of course, I've read all the books and taken some courses and that kind of stuff, but that's his bread and butter. It's what he does all day, every day. And he can teach you more about YouTube in a week than I could in a year. So, so I can show you enough. I can show anybody enough. Hey, here's how to press record. Here's how to start a channel. Here's how to start talking. Here's how to get over the fear of doing that. But in terms of how to engage viewers, how to create specific videos, how to get more subscribers, how to market and do all the things you need to do to build your own YouTube channel in any category, he is the person for that. So. But again, that's what we intend to do, is to have experts in each area. Mine is trucking and real estate. You want to know about trucking and real estate? I can teach you enough about those two things to blow your head up. If you want to know about general business, business entities, how to set up a business, how to get a business license, how to tell whether you need a business license or not, how to set up internal management controls, and all of those things, how to set up internal training programs. I can give you a lot of information on those things. You want to know how to make sourdough bread or paint rocks or weld? I can't teach you those things because I don't know how, but we will have people that join our community that are specialists in pretty much every area that you can imagine. So, and I do have somebody that does know how to make sourdough bread and is an expert in that. And another friend and neighbor eventually we have in our community that is an expert at rock painting. So as strange as that may sound, that's actually a thing, and people get a lot of pleasure, I should say, out of doing that. And she will be covering those sorts of things if she chooses to join our community. I'm pretty sure she will. So anyway, thank you for watching this video, and I will be back again soon in the next one. And in the meantime, if you want to seek out our community and join that would be much appreciated too. Right now it's free. I meant to say that earlier. Until we reach 100 members, it is free to all who join. And once you join, as long as you stay an active member, it's free to you forever. Everybody after the 100th member is going to pay a minimum of $47 per month to be in it. That's the first tier, and the lowest tier. The next tier up after that would be $97 a month, because of the community itself will become the main asset. The courses will always be important and nice, but the main asset as the community grows is access to the community itself. So come join us, and otherwise subscribe while you're here. And I'll see you again here soon in the next video.